Hey guys, SaintsKnight here, welcoming you guys back to our channel here with a new double movie review. And today's two films we are going to be, I am going to be reviewing for you today is the first one is the newest part of the Conjuring universe, being The Nun, and the other one being a light-hearted comedy. When I say light-hearted, I mean imagine the Muppets meets Melissa McCarthy. Yep, it's the HappyTime Murders. Now, as always in our movie reviews, there will be absolutely zero spoilers in it whatsoever. This is just our personal opinions, so take this review with a little bit of grain of salt. And also, if you guys want to watch this movie unspoiled, don't worry, no spoilers in this movie. If you're expecting spoilers, go to a different channel, whereas this is just for the people who just basically want to know what we think of certain films. Okay, so that's all that boilerplate, boring old boilerplate stuff out of the way. Let's just dive in. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do want to keep seeing these movie reviews on the channel, you know what to do. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up button. And without further ado, let's start with our first movie, The Nun. Now, The Nun, as I said before, is the next movie, is the latest movie in the Conjuring universe, which is about this, I think, the nun that was in the first Conjuring films, and how, honestly, I don't even know what it's about. I mean, story, let's see, what was it about? I think it was about this church in somewhere in Europe actually being cursed by our titular nun. And it's basically up to a priest from the Vatican, a nun who hasn't really become a full nun, who basically is the sister, in real life of course, is the sister of the main woman in the Conjuring 1, because I think she was in both of them. Anyways, and this tourist that they find, this local guy that they find in there. Now, as for horror movies, we do the reviews slightly different for horror movies, because horror movies, we judge them differently on like how other movies are done. Like normally we do film stuff based on plot, sound effects, action and whatnot. Horror movie reviews, we do them, I do them at least a bit differently. So first of all, did it scare me? That's the most important thing. Actually, you know what? We'll leave that to the side. Next, the first thing that you want in a horror movie is something that you first want in many movies, is characters. Now, are the characters interesting? I get the nun. The nun herself, like most horror movie villains, in my personal opinion, the less you know about the monster or the killer, the more mysterious, and I think more scary, the villain would be. And honestly, I didn't find the nun, not the movie, but the actual nun, I didn't find her scary. Were there any good scares? About one or two, but I think the rest of it was pretty bland in terms of scary horror. Hey, when you see the film, sort of something like that. And let's see, the effects. Well, the effects are good, but if the scares and the horrors aren't really on par when it comes to the effects, if the effects are good and the horrors are actually shit, if the effects of the horror are good, but the horror itself is really bland and boring, then it wouldn't be a very good result. Now, would it? It would just be another bland, uninteresting, underdeveloped piece of mess. Excuse me. What else? Is there anything else? I will give it this. The soundtrack on it is actually quite good. I mean, the music alone just is good enough experience for The Nun, which in a horror movie, the musical accompaniment is very key in a horror movie because that drives the tone and that sets the scene. Which honestly, The Nun, I mean, I don't know other things to say on The Nun. That's how bland and boring I think that The Nun is, and that's its worst offense. The worst offense for The Nun is the same offense that the Slenderman movie did when I reviewed that. It made the character, it made the nun boring. And what I mean by that, of course, is like in the first movie, it was either whatever movies that the nun was in, you always looked at it and thought, man, that's scary, that's really freaky. Why is that nun there? Why? You thought that the nun was really scary in the first two films, so logically, you think if it had more screen time, then it would become a lot more scary. But actually, it became a lot bland. Like the Slender Man, if you explore something too much, you always run the fear of making it bad, or worse, making it boring. Which I think is the Nun's worst offense. It's boring. So, you know what, let's quickly round up our final verdicts for the Nun. I think I clarify. I went to see this with Gimelord and I and Darren One Shot, and Gimelord I think gave it a 7. Yeah, 7 out of 10. Mr. One Shot gave it a 6. I'd give it a 4. A 4 out of 10. It's not exactly good, but it isn't the worst horror movie I've seen all year. That goes to a different contender, which I'm not going to say because either you've watched the reviews or not, but, and if not, you'll find out at the end of the year on what my worst horror movie is, because that will be on the list. It'll be worth it. So yeah, Nun for me gets a 4 out of 10. It's a really boring, bland movie that it doesn't really have a lot writing on it. So you know what? Wait, this is one movie. Let's just switch you. There we go. Our next movie is a more light-hearted film. Well, more. When I say more light-hearted, yeah, more happier film. See what I did there? The HappyTime Murders. Now, well, let me put it this way. If you don't know already, I was looking forward to this movie, and you know what? I actually even did a reaction video for a friend of mine's channel, which you know what? I'll be generous. I'll leave his link in the description down below. Well, I'll leave the video link in the description down below, so you can watch it there. So you would think that if I was looking forward to something, it would probably end up ruined, right? However, no, actually, it turned out that this was actually funnier than I imagined. Well, funnier than I would have thought. But I will say it's not the funniest film all year. Honestly, I'd say that goes for, actually that is probably for Tag, honestly. Tag, I really loved, and I don't even know what I gave, I can't even remember what I gave Tag. I may actually look on the video later and actually maybe we adaptation. Well, not adaptation. There'll be like mental note around here saying like what I gave it. But anyway, basically, first of all, story. Now, Happy Time Murders is basically just about this puppet. I would say PI, private investigator, who used to be a cop, but left the force after an incident. Actually, after circumstances with Melissa McCarthy's character, who they eventually end up teaming up to hunt down these like people who are trying to like kill all the members of this. Basically, like it's if Sesame Street actually, if Sesame Street meets CSI Miami, that's what Happy Time Murders would be to me. And honestly, as that premise, the premise on that alone should be enough to get people in seats. I mean, contrary to what people believe, the Hensons, well, they're remaining alive, Hensons, did actually have a huge input into this, because I think it was Jim Henson's brother who's in charge of the production company of this movie, and you could really tell that it's a Henson project because the puppet work is probably the best thing about it. The puppet work is really good, and and because of that, the laughs like involving the puppets are really, really funny. Some bits, some funny stuff you probably would have already seen in trailers, if not trailers behind me, but still, that's only just a small handful of the funny things every now and then. Whether or not if they're the funniest stuff in the movie or not is up to you, but for me, I honestly thought that there were a couple of scenes in it that were funnier that are not in the trailer, so there we go. That's good. A comedy that spoils its funny parts in the trailers is not a good one, which thankfully Happy Time Murders doesn't. And as well as that, this comedy actually made me care for a puppet, which is the first I haven't had that happen since the Muppets, honestly. But no, I did. Yeah, honestly, what else? The voice, actually, the acting as well. There's no point having good puppetry if the actors who are either like in the as puppets or not as puppets are like really bland and boring. If they're bland and boring, then it's not going to be a really good. It won't work as a puppet movie now, which thankfully this does. This does work as a puppet. Well, actually, as a puppet movie. What it basically is, what this reminds me of. I'm probably rambling quite a lot, but the reason why I like this is because it reminds me of a movie. It reminds me Who Framed Roger Rabbit. This is basically just the Muppets meets Who Framed Roger Rabbit, because if you stop and think about it, they're basically the same plot, except for like some framed about that. If you took the frame that actually, if you take the fact that Roger Rabbit being framed are the equation, if you compare Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Happy Time Murders, they're both the same thing. But that, unfortunately, is probably the Happy Time Murders' biggest problem. It doesn't take advantage of the fact that it's puppets. It's like supposed to be all happy. It doesn't take advantage of most of the material. I mean, the joke, as I said, the jokes are funny, but there were so much more jokes that you could have put in, and that is probably the Happy Time Murders' biggest sin. Which I reckon, if this does get a sequel, which I think it would, I think it deserves a sequel, definitely. If it does, you gotta I think the studio has to let the writers have more free reign for everything. Have the free reign on jokes, free reign over the script, and let the puppet master do its thing. Well, that's my recommendations for it if they're making the second movie, which I hope to do, because this was probably one of the funniest movies out there. But final verdict for Happy Time Murders, I give it a solid 7 out of 10. It's a really good movie, and if you're into if you're into if you like Melissa McCarthy movies, then this one will really keep you pleased. If you're a fan of adult humor, again, keep you pleased. However, if you're looking for something new and something innovative in terms of cartoons, actually in like TV show like puppets / cartoons mixed with like actual cops, I'd say Who Framed Roger Rabbit is probably a better example to go to. However, if you cannot find it, then this is a good second alternative. I mean, 7 out of 10 is my verdict on HappyTime Murders. So there you go. Those are double reviews on The Nun and HappyTime Murders. What did you guys think? Which one do you prefer? What would you rate them out of 10? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Whatever your thoughts, whatever your opinions, leave them in the comments down below. And apart from that, I'm afraid it is now time to end today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy that. If you did, please do yourself a favor. Please smash the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. And if you're not new, then do not forget to click the bell button click the bell icon next to the subscribe button to get notified on all of our upcoming videos, including Tech Lab, any gameplay videos, any movie reviews, any TV show reviews, whatever it is. Make sure you have the notifications turned on so you do not miss the chance the very second that it comes out. So until then, guys, this is your boy SaintsKnight here, signing off. Peace.